Hi, Attorney Steve Vondran, we're back. We're talking about, can you cite to that unpublished case, that holy grail case you found, that perfect piece of case law that's going to slam your case home and going to take it to the opponent and show them you're right. The only thing turns out that it's unpublished. It's an unpublished opinion. We talked about in part 1 of our video series, can you cite in a California court, can you cite to an unpublished decision or opinion from the California Court of Appeals or the California Appellate Division of the Superior Court. Superior courts have appellate division. Can you cite to those in your California case? We talked about California Rule of Court, CRC 8.1115, 81115. Can you cite to that? We talked about it. Generally, no. There's limited exceptions. Maybe you can get judicial notice. We talked also that you could seek to get, with the Halagowski decision, an unpublished federal decision from your federal district courts or your appellate courts. That's some legal authority for you to be able to cite your case in your briefs, seeking persuasive authority for that. Okay, so now in this video we're going to talk about the federal rules. What about the federal? Federal courts are doing the same thing. They're issuing opinions. The district courts have all sorts of decisions and orders that are coming out at all times. You have appellate decisions. You have a lot of body of decisions coming out from federal courts. Okay, so the question is, can you cite to these in your federal court case? So can you take a federal unpublished opinion and cite it in your federal court case? That's what we're talking about. We already talked about how you could cite it in your California case, but what about the federal case? Here you're going to be looking at the Federal Rules of Appellate Procedure 32.1, 36-3. You're going to be looking at those kinds of cases. In general, the rules now, and this is binding on the federal courts across the United States, these appellate rules, you can cite to an unpublished federal case that was issued after January 1st, 2007. So if you have a decision from 2007, 2008, 9, 10, 11, it's unpublished, you can still cite to that as persuasive authority. Remember we talked about, it doesn't mean the court has to follow it, court might follow it, court could toss it out the window and say this is nonsense, but you can cite it for persuasive authority. That's what you're looking for. Prior to to January 2007, if you have a federal court case that's prior to this date, the general rule, again, subject to exceptions, current research, this, that, and the other, general rule I'm going to give you here is only if, going back to our California rule of court exceptions, if you remember the 3 exceptions we gave there, relevant under the doctrine of the law of the case, the same parties, the same facts going back and forth. Review part 1 if you want to see that. Raised judicata or collateral estoppel purposes, or to show issues of double jeopardy. Okay, that's criminal law. If you have a criminal case, you have to look into this section and see what you have going here. Okay, so the cases that are after January 2007, go ahead and cite them according to the prevailing rule. Prior to, only if it meets one of those exceptions. And then often, again, I make a point here that often federal courts will look to unpublished decisions from other federal courts as binding authority. So they'll look to other unpublished decisions of other federal courts, other orders and decisions in making decisions. So that's a possibility if you're in federal court citing other courts. And in general, you're going to find that the federal courts, if they're looking at a California decision, so this becomes a question. You have a federal court and you're trying to cite an unpublished California Court of Appeals decision or a decision from the Appellate Division of the Superior Court. You're trying to cite these in federal court. Well, what should happen there? Should the federal court make its own rule and say, we'll do it if we want, we're the federal court, we can consider any case we want? Or will they defer to the California Rule of Court 8.1115 and say, we can't review this is unpublished under California state law, why would we let it in here? So there's a little split of authority from what I was able to find in my research, that the California courts, maybe the general rule would be California rule of court would rule the day. If you can't cite it in state court, why should you be allowed to file it and cite it in federal court for persuasive authority? But I did find a case called Cole versus Doe 1. Cole versus Doe 1. You can find that for your legal buffs out there. You can find that at 387 Federal Sup 2nd, 1084. That's Cole versus Doe. And in that case, the court refused to follow the California Rules of Court and basically said that it was not, that the unpublished California court reasoning that California's rule was not binding on the federal courts, as determined by the 8th Circuit in another case, blah, blah, blah. So there is appear to be, if you really have to get your unpublished state court into your federal court case, look that case up and take a look at that. But that's the basics. You're trying to get that key case in your business case, your real estate case, your intellectual property case, those kinds of things. You're trying to get that evidence in there. Your foreclosure case, you're trying to get the judge to just take a look at it, to have some binding authority. Because one of the things that you hear judges say is, why should I do that? What you got a case you're relying on, counsel? Is this just something you're crafting up? You say, no, I have a case. Well, is it cited, uncited? It's uncited, but it should be considered as persuasive authority. Okay, so that's what we're talking about in this video. If you have a chance, go back, watch part 1, part 2. If you have any questions, if you need a litigation firm on your side fighting for your rights, give us a call at 877-276-5084. You can find our main corporate website at askattorneysteve.com. If you need specific foreclosure, wrongful foreclosure defense, go to foreclosurewarrior.com. We've been in the trenches fighting for homeowners for many years now, and we're here to help you. Okay, that's about it. Attorney Steve here. Have a great day. Thank you, and don't forget to subscribe so you can get these great videos coming to you when we post them. Okay, have a great day. Attorney Steve. Thank you.